In the quiet, frosty hours of January 2023, mere days after New Year's celebrations dwindled, a desperate call shattered the stillness of Waller County's 911 dispatch center in Texas. "My name is Angie Diaz," the caller said, his voice quivering with raw panic. "My son's wife, she's dead." The operator, trained to remain composed under pressure, pressed for details. "What's going on, sir?" Rodney's response was a gut punch that would haunt all who heard it. "She's down, and there's no head on her body." Jared James Diaz and Angie Diaz, both just 21 years old, had exchanged vows in October 2022, a fleeting 3 months before this nightmare unfolded. Their wedding photos shared across social media radiated pure joy, smiles wide, eyes sparkling with dreams of a shared future in their small Texas town. But on January 11, 2023, that dream was obliterated in a scene of unimaginable horror. Rodney and Lynn Diaz, Jared's parents, discovered Angie's mutilated body in the couple's modest home, a secondary dwelling on their rural property at 206 Ocala Boulevard in Waller County. Her head had been brutally severed, leaving a tableau of blood and devastation. What had unraveled so catastrophically in such a short time? Was Jared, the former high school football star turned electrician, capable of such a monstrous act? And if so, what drove him to this level of brutality? Join us on the Crime Decoder as we delve into more details to unravel the tragic and gruesome murder of Angie Diaz, allegedly at the hands of her own husband. Waller County, a serene rural enclave 45 miles northwest of Houston, is known for its sprawling magnolia trees, quiet country roads, and a community spirit rooted in small-town values. Home to fewer than 50,000 residents, this area, once a dry county until alcohol sales were legalized in 2011, prides itself on its low crime rate, with only 12 homicides reported between 2015 and 2020. The events of January 11, 2023, sent shockwaves through this peaceful region, forever altering its sense of safety. The Diaz family's property at 206 Ocala Boulevard, near the town of Magnolia, was a modest setup. A main house where Rodney and Lynn lived, and a smaller secondary dwelling. A converted garage-like structure where Jared and Angie began their married life. On that fateful afternoon, Rodney and Lynn grew alarmed. After noticing Jared's strange behavior, he was pacing outside, clutching Angie's phone, its screen set to Spanish, of which she was fiercely protective of, using it to stay connected with her family in Nicaragua. When Lynn questioned him, Jared's vague response about multiple phones heightened their unease. They rushed to the couple's home, where they were met with a scene of unimaginable horror. Angie's headless body lay sprawled across the living room floor, surrounded by pools of congealing blood. Scattered cigarette butts, blood-soaked clothes, and a trail of bloody footprints created a chaotic scene. A blood-stained 8-inch kitchen knife, its blade glinting under the dim light, was found near the body, later confirmed by Sheriff Troy Gajori as the likely murder weapon. The footprints, size 10, and matching Jared's shoes, led from the bedroom to the bathroom, where investigators made a chilling discovery. Angie's severed head rested in the bathtub, her dark hair matted and wet, with traces of soap suggesting an attempt to wash away evidence. Court documents revealed Angie had been stabbed 14 times in the back, with wounds indicating a frenzied, prolonged attack. The deliberate placement of her head in the shower pointed to a calculated effort to obscure the crime. First responders arriving just before 4:30 p.m. included officers familiar with the Diaz family due to prior minor incidents involving Jared's older brother Wayne, who had a history of drug-related arrests. A paramedic recounted a haunting detail. "I saw pink socks peeking out from under a towel on the floor. As I stepped closer, I noticed blood seeping out, spreading across the wood. Recognizing the scene as a homicide, the team retreated to preserve evidence. Police body cam footage captured the grim reality. Blood splattered on walls, furniture overturned, and a heavy metallic scent in the air. Forensic analysis later identified defensive wounds on Angie's hands, suggesting she fought back desperately. Jared was at the scene, his behavior erratic, sobbing uncontrollably. One moment eerily calm, the next, still clutching Angie's phone. His inconsistent demeanor in possession of the phone led to his immediate detention in a police cruiser, hands cuffed, as officers began unraveling the tragedy. Jared and Angie's romance began like a small-town fairy tale, brimming with hope and serendipity. Jared, born in 2001 in the Houston area, is a Waller County native with a reputation as a dependable, all-American kid. A former varsity football player at Waller High School, known for his agility as a wide receiver, he carried the charm of a local athlete. After graduating in 2019, he transitioned to a stable career as an electrician, working for a local contractor. In early 2022, he met Angie Diaz at Chapel's Meat Market in Taquaria in Waller, where she worked as a cashier. Angie, born in October 2001 in Nicaragua, was a beacon of resilience and ambition. Her early life was marked by hardship. Raised by her adoptive mother in Nicaragua, while her biological mother worked grueling stretches in Costa Rica to support the family. When her adoptive mother was diagnosed with cancer, Angie's biological mother, a single parent, paid a smuggler to bring Angie and her siblings across the Mexican border into the U.S. in 2018. As undocumented immigrants seeking a better future, the perilous journey involved days of travel through dangerous terrain, leaving Angie with a fierce determination to succeed. In Texas, Angie threw herself into work at the meat market, often pulling double shifts while pursuing her dream of becoming a certified personal trainer. Her social media was a testament to her drive, filled with posts in Spanish like, "Celebrate your victories because no one else knows the sacrifices it took to achieve them." She sent money back to Nicaragua for her aunt's cancer treatments, balancing her ambitions with deep family loyalty. Her chance meeting with Jared at the meat market sparked an instant connection. Their romance blossomed swiftly, leading to an October 2022 wedding officiated by Waller County Judge Trey Duhan, who later described them as a very nice young couple in a heartfelt Facebook post. Wedding photos captured their joy, Jared surprising Angie with roses at work, the couple posing in matching denim outfits, their love radiating through every frame. Angie's posts often featured hashtags like #blessed and #me-amor, showcasing their early bliss. But beneath the curated social media posts, tension simmered. Angie's Spanish-speaking friends noticed Jared's discomfort at social gatherings, where his inability to speak Spanish left him isolated. Nicknamed him Rojo for his red hair, a playful jab that masked his growing frustration. Angie, fluent in Spanish and English, often translated nervously, trying to bridge the cultural divide, but Jared's irritation was palpable, sometimes leading him to storm out of events. Ruth Armendariz, Angie's boss at the meat market, who viewed her as a daughter, noticed a stark change after the marriage. Once vibrant and talkative, Angie grew quiet, her usual spark dimmed. On January 10, 2023, she arrived at work with a visible bruise on her shoulder, her eyes heavy with exhaustion. When pressed by Ruth and coworker Erica, Angie confided her plan to leave Jared. "It's over," she whispered. "I'll never marry again." She described an argument that had escalated, leaving her shaken but resolute. Angie's resolve wasn't new. Friends revealed she had been engaged to another man, Jose, in 2020, but ended it when he became distant and dismissive. Her mother, wary of Angie's rapid marriage to Jared, had urged caution, warning her to set boundaries. Angie's uncle, who briefly housed her in Waller after her arrival in the U.S., advised against marrying for legal status, saying, "Do it for love, not documents." Angie insisted she loved Jared, but her undocumented status lacking a path to legal residency may have pressured her into a hasty marriage, hoping it could secure her future in the U.S. This decision, compounded by cultural and personal tensions, potentially trapped her in a volatile situation. The days leading up to January 11th were a cascade of warning signs, each more alarming than the last. On January 8th, Jared placed a bizarre 911 call around midnight from the couple's home. "I've been drugged," he told the dispatcher, his voice slurring and disjointed. "I don't feel well. I need help." He admitted to using methamphetamine, a drug closely associated with his older brother Wayne, who had faced multiple drug-related arrests since 2018. Jared's parents, Rodney and Lynn, were devastated by this revelation. Jared had no documented history of heavy drug use, though he had struggled with alcohol. In November 2022, he was arrested for driving while intoxicated after an altercation at a local Whataburger, where he punched windows, shouted at staff, and was so aggressive that police placed him in a restraint chair to collect a blood sample for DNA. He was out on a $500,000 bond when the murder occurred. A bond later raised to $1 million after prosecutors cited his violent history and flight risk. That same night, January 8th, Angie confided in coworkers during a quiet moment in the meat market's kitchen. She revealed Jared had struck her during an argument sparked by her spending time with her aunt on Sunday. "We argued all night," she said, her voice weary. "He wouldn't let me sleep." She showed Ruth and Erica the bruise on her shoulder, a dark mark that spoke of escalating abuse. "I'm leaving him," she declared, planning to discuss her next steps over coffee on January 13th, her day off. Tragically, that meeting never occurred. Angie's history of resilience. She had escaped an unhealthy engagement with Jose and navigated the dangers of illegal immigration, made her determination to leave Jared credible. But her vulnerability as an undocumented immigrant may have delayed her escape. On January 11th, Jared returned home from his electrician job at 4 a.m., slipping into the house quietly. By 12:30 p.m., his parents noticed him carrying Angie's phone, set to Spanish, which she used to send daily messages to her family in Nicaragua. When Lynn confronted him, "That's not your phone. Whose is it?" Jared's vague response about multiple phones set off alarms. Rodney and Lynn rushed to the couple's home, finding Angie's mutilated body. Jared was there, crying on the floor, but his earlier actions painted a starkly different picture. CCTV footage from Chapel's meat market, time-stamped 12:49 p.m., captured Jared casually strolling to the fridge, grabbing a beer, and sipping it in the parking lot before driving off less than 9 hours after Angie's murder. At the very place where their love story began, this chilling act of nonchalance, recorded on grainy security footage, stunned investigators and deepened the tragedy's weight. In the interrogation room at the Waller County Sheriff's Office, Jared was a study in contradictions. Body cam footage showed him hunched, eyes darting, hands fidgeting as he claimed a methamphetamine-induced psychotic break drove him to kill Angie. "I lost my way with God," he said. Alleging voices on his TV screen urged him to act. Yet his story unraveled under scrutiny. He admitted turning on the shower to wash Angie's hair, a deliberate act that contradicted his claim of a fugue state. When pressed about the decapitation, he confirmed Angie was awake during the attack, likely grabbing the kitchen knife to defend herself before he overpowered her. Forensic evidence corroborated this. Defensive wounds on Angie's hands and 14 stab wounds to her back indicated a prolonged, frenzied assault. His nervous laughter and weak denials, "I didn't do it," collapsed when confronted with Angie's phone in his possession. Police theorized that escalating domestic tensions, fueled by Angie's intent to leave and Jared's volatile behavior, triggered the murder. A drug test conducted post-arrest showed only cocaine and marijuana in his system. It's not methamphetamine, undermining his psychotic break defense. His claim of hearing voices raised questions. If he could resist harming his parents, why not Angie? Records showed 3 prior domestic violence calls to the couple's home in late 2022, though none resulted in arrests, indicating a pattern of conflict. Jared's DWI arrest, aggressive behavior at the Whataburger, and a 2021 bar fight where he broke a patron's nose painted a picture of a man spiraling, possibly exacerbated by substance use and untreated mental health issues. Forensic analysis also revealed Jared's DNA on the knife handle and Angie's blood on his clothing, further tying him to the crime. In the interrogation's final moments, Jared curled into a fetal position, possibly out of guilt or self-comfort, offering no clear motive beyond vague references to losing control. On July 31st, 2024, Jared pleaded guilty to murder, receiving a 40-year sentence without appeal rights or the possibility of raising an insanity defense. A court-ordered psychiatric evaluation by Dr. Sarah Miller, a forensic psychologist, deemed him competent to stand trial, noting no evidence of psychosis at the time of the crime. Only signs of impulsivity and substance-induced agitation. District Attorney Sean Whitmore, after consulting Angie's family, emphasized Waller County's commitment to justice. Heinous crimes like this will not go unanswered. We fight for our victims. Jared will not be eligible for parole until 2043 at the earliest. Due to the crime's aggravated nature and his prior violent history, Angie's family and community focused on her vibrant legacy. At a vigil on January 14, 2023, at Oak Hollow Park, her Aunt Addis described her as an angel with a contagious smile. Her bicycle, a daily fixture on her rides to the meat market, was adorned with flowers and candles, symbolizing her journey from Nicaragua to Texas. A GoFundMe campaign raised over $15,000 to send Angie's body to Nicaragua for burial, fulfilling her family's wish to honor her roots. Co-workers like Ruth Armendariz remembered her as intelligent and hardworking, always eager to learn new skills at the meat market. Neighbors recalled her radiant smile that lit up the room and her motivational posts that inspired others. The tragedy spurred Waller County to launch a domestic violence awareness campaign, with Sheriff Troy Guidry noting the prior calls to the couple's home, though none had indicated this level of violence. A local church hosted weekly support groups for abuse survivors, citing Angie's case as a call to action. Rodney and Lynn Diaz, devastated, believed drugs or untreated mental health issues overwhelmed their son. They pointed to his January 8, 9/11 call as a cry for help ignored by an overburdened mental health system. Lynn tearfully told reporters, "We lost 2 children that day, Angie, and the son we thought we knew." Angie's family, particularly her mother and aunt, grieved a young woman who came to the U.S. for a better life, only to meet a tragic end. Her mother, who had fled violence in Nicaragua, expressed anguish. "I told her to speak up, but she was too strong, too quiet." A scholarship fund in Angie's name was established at Waller High School, aimed at supporting immigrant students pursuing vocational training, reflecting her dream of becoming a personal trainer. Angie Diaz's vibrant life, filled with ambition and resilience, was stolen by the man she trusted most, shattering Waller County's peace. Was it a drug-fueled act, domestic abuse, or a deeper darkness? Could Angie's vulnerable immigration status have trapped her in a dangerous marriage? This tragedy reminds us that darkness can strike anywhere. What drove Jared to this horrific act? Share your thoughts in the comments. Stay safe, subscribe to the Crime Decoder, and join us for another gripping true crime story.